Okay, everybody. Hi there. Today is the 7th of December, 2017, and this is All the Leads Mastermind call number 154. You've got Chad Corbett, Tom Winby, and Tim Yandel on the call. I'm playing host today while Jim is flying back from Atlantic City. We just concluded a very exciting and successful triple play real estate conference, and that worked well. And last week, or I guess, yeah, it was this Monday or last week sometime, getting confused when we did the Explode conference in Jacksonville. Was that Monday, Chad?
Yeah, we've had two this week.
Yeah, going crazy. Anyway, so we're all here. We already have one person in the queue, and star 6 and 1 will get you in the queue, and you can be next after the person that's sitting there waiting. No new announcements from me today. We are continuing to move forward with everything that we announced last week, and we've made some additional changes to some of the stuff that's there. We continue to work with it. We've added the ISA calling program as we talked about, and we're moving along quite nicely with that. And Chad, you may want to talk a little bit about that, and when it's your turn. Tom, you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I'm good. Just to remind everybody, if they need anything, we're here to help. Just send us an email at support@alltheleads.com or just contact us in your account area.
All right.
That's it.
Chad, you got anything exciting you want to say right now, or shall we go ahead and head over to our callers?
No, I do want to touch on the ISA services, and it's amazing to me. A lot of real estate agents still don't know what the ISA is. Inside sales agent, and this is a qualified person that works the phones and sets appointments for you. So that's what we introduced last week. We can now automate all of your outbound phone prospecting for you. So if you're not getting it done or you're not comfortable doing it, we can simply do it for you. It's $2.50 per lead, and that means we'll call all 4 phone numbers and leave voicemails if we don't have live contact. It'll be done from your CRM, so all the notes are captured, the ratings. If there is no real estate or if they want opted out, that will be done by the ISA. So on subsequent rounds of calls, you won't be charged for that. I haven't made the training video yet. As I mentioned, I probably would have done by this week because we do have subtle changes still happening, and what I don't want to do is cause even more confusion by making training videos that become obsolete as soon as we make a change. So we're kind of going by the seat of our pants here for just a bit until we get settled into the software exactly, what it's exactly going to look like. But if you notice some of the changes in your subscriber portal, I'm sure you've noticed there's a menu at the top now instead of on the side. If you look under Mailbox Motivator, you're going to see a new tab that says updated. That says Order Marketing Campaign. And there's a lot of details there about what we can do with calls. So you can basically choose at the very bottom if you want to do letters and calls, which we recommend, obviously, letters only or calls only. And we broke it out this way because we realized some of you are doing your own direct mail, some of you are, not doing anything, and some just need us to, just send letters. I'll make my own calls. So you just kind of self-select there, and it'll walk you through the ordering process. So for now, that's where you can find the details on what we were talking about under the main menu, Mailbox Motivator, Order Marketing Campaign. And Tim's done a good job kind of simplifying this and saying, here's what it is. We'll have more details. Just so you guys know, over the last several weeks that we've been doing this, it's taking us about 40 leads to get an appointment. And 2 and 3 appointments turn into listings. So roughly about every 50 to 60 leads, we're going to get you a listing from, statistically. And that's what we found over the last 6 weeks or so of calling. That could change. It could get better, could get worse. But right now, that's what we're tracking, and we're really proud of that. If you have any call center experience, if you've ever worked with or as an ISA, you'll realize that a 3% conversion from an ISA cold calling is pretty phenomenal. So we're not just charging you to beat in time on the phones. We're delivering results. So if you aren't making your phone calls, that's the reason we do this, guys. It's not really a revenue generator for us. It just creates a lot of more complexity for us. But the number one choke point that we see with our agents is they're not making their phone calls, and that's where they're getting shut down. They never get a chance to be successful. So if you're in that boat, if you're not making your phone calls, raise your hand. We've got the life ring, and we feel like we're offering it at the best price we can, which is a very competitive price to get a service like this done. So if you're interested in that, you want to learn more about it, you can email support at all the leads, and we can reach out to you. You can go to Mailbox Motivator and order marketing campaign, read about it there. And then we'll have, again, once we kind of get settled into the software side of things, I will make some training videos, and we'll probably be reaching out to you to kind of answer any questions you have about it. That's all.
I think it's also important to note, and I wasn't sure if you said this as you're going through, these are folks that are native English speakers. There are no language barriers. They speak the same language as your prospects do, and they are extremely well trained, and that's the reason that they're doing a great job of getting this. We're not taking people off the street and letting them sit down and read a script. These are people who not only know what they're doing, but we also personalize this to a great extent. When you order this, we ask you to complete a little questionnaire about you, your business, the things that you want people to know about you, so that when the ISAs are making those phone calls, they're making it for you, not just coming off of a straight up script. The other thing is as they make those calls, they will be going through and as they take care of each one, if they find that there's no reason to pursue that going forward, it will get marked off. They're working inside your CRM to take care of that. So they'll mark off the ones that don't need to be done for mailings going forward and phone calls going forward. So as you do your future mailings, it cuts your costs down, and over time, you'll end up getting the ISA service for free if you cut your mailing costs down by winnowing it down after you've gone through the ones that you know you're not going to want to continue to pursue. So there's a lot of good reasons to do this, and it's a really good, solid program. And as Chad said, we're not doing it just to, make money and find another way to, take money from you. We're doing this to try to make you successful, and our biggest goal is that you stick around for a long time. You're extremely successful. You sing your praises to a lot of other people, and we continue to grow our business. And like he said, the biggest hassle that we found is the same thing over and over again. People either don't have time to do it, they have initial call reluctance, they're not comfortable making these calls, whatever those reasons are. We've eliminated that from you. We've eliminated the mailing problem, and really trying to get it to the point that all you've got to do is go talk to people who are ready to have you come and talk to them about listing their property. And that's a pretty straightforward approach to doing this. So I urge you to consider doing it and try to see if you can go forward with it. Star 6 and 1 will put you in the queue. The person who was in the queue appears to have gone away, and we'd love to hear from you. Star 6 and 1, and we'll get you in that queue. One other thing I'll say while we're waiting for someone to join us, and we just got one to come back in, and the other one came back, so we're in good shape. If you haven't done your Christmas cards yet for your customers and you need some help getting that done, Mailbox Motivator is also offering that as a service this year. So if you're interested, just fill out a support ticket. Say, give me info about Christmas cards, and we'll be happy to talk with you about doing that. Customize a card specifically for you, and we'll be glad to get them out for you. You don't have to worry about that either. So we'll take care of all those things for you. We have two people that are.
And you can do them. I think it's important that you talk about, like, that you can do true personal handwritten fonts. Like, so it is really, really high quality printing, and you can't tell that you didn't handwrite it. Some of the fonts that we have are pretty incredible. So it literally is just as good as, if you took the time to handwrite them all. So anyways.
Not only that, if you've got a good scanner and some of the other stuff, we'll actually use your signatures and the signatures of the people on your team and on your staff. And it's just a great way to personalize it, and we're happy to get that done for you anytime you want to get it done, but you don't want to run out of time, because we'll run out of time and not be able to get it out for you. So if you're interested in doing that, you got about a 10-day window to get with us, and we'll get that done, and we'd love to get them out for you, and we'll do them for you at a great price, and you won't be able to beat it, and you know that the job will get done, and that's what we're here for. I'm going to hop into taking some calls here. We have two people in the queue. Another one just came in. If you want to get in the queue, star 6 and 1. and you'll be the next in line. We're going to start with the
Hey,
one
Tim,
that got on. And yes?
before we roll, I did want to. Sorry, I forgot about this, but yesterday we did role play call number 25. So for anybody who wasn't able to make the live call, it's posted in our Facebook group and in the call archive. So if you go to education and training, conference calls, access call archive, or just jump on our All the Leads Mastermind Facebook group, that role play call is archived there.
Perfect. All right. Okay, we're going to start with last four digits in your phone number are 9900. Go right ahead.
Hey, Chad. Rob Ullman here. I'm driving back from Atlantic City as well. Thank you for the opportunity to put this program together in a way that'll allow me to delegate the calling and the mailing, because although I've done things like that in the past with Liz Pendants and different things, one thing I know is I don't do it with consistency. So now that problem has been solved, and I appreciate you taking the time and the pain out of it for me to find somebody to be able to do this effectively. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we appreciate that, and that's about the best way to put it. You know, we've tried to make this easy. Our whole goal when we sit around and we meet at least once a quarter as a team, and we talk about really what our objectives are, and it really doesn't change a whole lot. Our objective is to make you be successful, and so anything that we can do to make you spend the majority of your time as you pursue your business, spending the majority of your time talking with prospective people who are listening or buyers and not wasting time doing the admin stuff that we can do for you because we're better at it, frankly, and we can do it faster, easier, and cheaper than you can. That's what we're all about. So I appreciate that comment, Rob. That's great. I appreciate it. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, this is my first call that I've hopped on. I've wanted to for about 3 years. You've been sending me emails, and I finally decided, if not now, when? And I took action rather than thinking about it longer. So, thank you for putting this product together, because that's what made me, pull the trigger on getting this done and implementing it, because I know you're going to implement it for me. All I got to do is, take the appointment call. So that's a beautiful thing.
Well, that's great, and
it's a two-step system.
Chad.
Give us your credit card and answer the phone. It's simple.
Wait, we could just leave all the rest of this out. They can just give us the credit card, and we don't have to worry about the rest of it. That'll be fine.
Yeah.
The other thing I'd add, and it kind of brings out a good point, it's the time of the year where, I know that we have people on the call who aren't subscribers. We always have people who get on this call and want to kind of hear what we're all about. And if you're sitting there and you're kind of sitting on the fence and saying, well, this is something I might want to do next year or whatever, I can assure you that there's no time like the present to get this started. And it sometimes takes a while for the leads to get started flowing and all of that, and you want to hit the ground running. You probably want to get that done. It doesn't mean that we'll dump leads in your pockets in December if you don't want them, but getting signed up now so that the next possible delivery of fresh leads is in your hands and you can get started at the beginning of next year, knowing what you're doing, knowing that you're going to be building another arm of your business to get this thing going well for you. This is the time you need to be getting started, and you've got just about enough time to make sure that you're perfectly ready to get this done the first part of January if you start today, and we'll certainly get you moving quickly. So don't hesitate. This is a good time to get her done. I'm going to take the next caller, and that would be ending in 2588. Go ahead.
Oh, hi. Yeah, this is John again in Portland. I called in yesterday, and I did not realize that you guys are now offering ISA, which is pretty cool. I guess my only question that popped into my head was that when I signed up originally, you guys mentioned that the leads actually can go up to 3 realtors in a geographical area. So how does that work with an ISA if you've got 3 realtors having an ISA make calls on the same probate?
So it's interesting. Yeah, go ahead, Chad. You can take it or I will. It's up to you.
Yeah, so that's one of the ethical dilemmas we have too, right? It's like, how can we provide the full service to more than one person? And really we can't. So we've decided the right thing to do is the first person in any market to sign up for ISA services is the only customer we'll work with, one at a time. So in the places where we do have more than one subscriber, we make sure that we're only making calls for one person.
And I have a second question to that real quick. So right now I'm just having the letters go out. So if I'm on the page where it says letters and calls, letters only, or calls only, do I choose letters and calls? Because I already have it set up to send out the letters.
I think you should probably just get on the phone with us, and we'll do a manual order for you this time.
Okay.
And then going forward, you will do letters and calls, but you may end up duplicating your mail order if you do that right now. So, two options: you could do calls only and just do it directly from the page right now. And then next month when you come in, you can do letters and calls, and then click the autopilot button, so you never have to do it again. And that's kind of the intent, guys. Like, I mean, in a perfect world, we would have you guys come in, set up, letter 1, call 1, letter 2, call 2, and like lay out your sequence, click the autopilot button, and never have to log in and order marketing again, because it's getting done. You can come in there and look. You see you see the notes from the calls being made. You see when the mail was sent out. That's kind of the idea. And with the call center opting people out, you don't have to worry about paying for mail that's not, we're scrubbing that list for you using live callers. So your costs are going to go down each month, and you're only paying for that first month. You only pay for what you get. So if you order a 4-touch sequence, we're only going to charge you for 1 touch at a time. As we send the letters and make the calls, we will charge you accordingly. So you don't have to pay that big upfront cost. So this time you may just go in and order your calls, but next month, keep that in mind. You can just go in, set up the sequence that you want to repeat, and just click autopilot and never have to worry about it.
Got it. Okay.
It's also, let me take that another step further in regard to kind of the question that you didn't ask, which sometimes comes up also. Same thing applies to letters, except for the fact that when we do mailings, if we've got more than one subscriber in a marketplace and 2 subscribers want to do them, we make sure to make absolutely certain you're not sending the same letter out as someone else in your market. Even if your content that you want to put out is the same content that someone else does, we reword it for you. We make sure those letters do not look like they came from the same place, and you get the same cut everybody else does. So the letters, we do support multiple clients in the market, but we can't really call for them. And we literally thought this through and said, no, there's no way that we can do that and feel good about ourselves, because we can't differentiate it. So we can't have the same people calling for the same one. So it's first in, first come, first serve on the ISA side. On letters, we can certainly, do more than one in the marketplace, and we're careful to maintain individuality. Folks, we don't have anybody else in the queue right now. *6 and 1 will get you in the queue. We'll be happy to answer your questions. This is your time. These calls are all about you. You drive the agenda, and we've got plenty of time to take more, and we just got another one in there. We will take that. Did we answer your question there, Bud?
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I'll give you guys a call. Just call the support number.
Yep, that's correct.
Yep.
Great. Thank you guys for putting that together.
All right. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. We'll take the next caller. Next caller, Peter, is 7200.
Hello. How are you today?
Hi. This doesn't sound like Peter.
No, it's not. It's actually Dorothy. We are new. This is our second month with leads. And I apologize if I do get disconnected, because my battery is very low. And if that does happen, I'll wait for your answer, and I'll look for it on the recorded video, the recorded archives. So we have not had much luck. And it's a group of 4 of us that is tackling this. We have I'm assuming a large area. But yesterday we got a reply, a voicemail from someone who was telling us that, how dare you troll the archives and the probate, and what do you go down to the city hall? And she just went on and on and on. Your parents must be very proud of you. You're scum, you're this, you're that. And I have to admit, it did put a damper on things. And I'm trying to get back out of that mindset of, I went in with really good intentions. We decided to tackle this because we personally have gone through the probate process a couple of times, and it is gruesome for families who don't know what they're getting themselves into when they're handed over an estate and have to clear out houses and so forth.
Well,
So we
what do
thought
you
it was
mean by that? How could you possibly help somebody in that situation?
How can I help someone? Well, providing my services. So we have a team that's gathered. We have people that will come and clean out the house. We have people that will, auctioneers that will come in, and CPAs and financial planners and plumbers and electricians, and I have my staging.
So the 2 times that you were going through this, would that stuff have been valuable to you?
One of them, the lawyer handled everything. The other time, yes, it most definitely would have been valuable.
Okay. And do you feel like it's a disservice if you don't offer this to other people that are going through what you went through?
I do.
Right.
But then again,
then listen. You get rid of your stinking thinking. You let one person's perception and ego control you. And thank you for raising your hand, because we all do it, right? We all let that little voice go, oh, shit, she's right. I'm scum. And it's not true. You're reaching out. You've gone above and beyond your call as a realtor to build a professional service, to offer services well outside the scope of the real estate profession. And that's something to be proud of. And you're doing it for the right reason. You like empathetically entered this saying, I've been through this twice, and there's a better way, and I'm it. And that's why you got into this. And you need to remember that. And if you have to write it on your damn wall, so the next time this happens, it doesn't penetrate that pride that you're doing this for the right reason. And I'll tell you this, if you can't fix that, you will fail, because we see it over and over. But if you get real proud of what you're doing, you'll be impenetrable, and you'll have a really good response the next time it happens. And you can probably go back to those original stories, your original why, and you can hit the next person and say, you know what? Listen here. Why don't you, let's get this story straight. And understand they probably called because they're scared, and that comes out. They show it to you as anger, because ego does funny things to us humans, but they're afraid. They're in territory they've never been in. They don't know what to do first, and don't ever take it personal. It's just their ego saying, I'm freaking scared and I don't trust you, but I'm really curious about what you're doing, so I'm gonna say bad things to you right now. You can, believe it or not, you can turn those conversations around. If you can get them, if you can break their pattern and shock them, and usually that's with a really good emotional question, and they break their pattern and get them to engage in a conversation, then match their energy. If they're being a real asshole, you should be too. And then bring it back down, slowly bring it back to a civil conversation, and you can turn these around. And actually, once people understand that their perception of you and your service is wrong, then they can turn into good conversations and good listings and clients. And I've told a story before on these calls. I had a guy drive to my office to whip my ass because I sent a letter to a high equity list. It was nothing near as sensitive as this, but I was able to turn it around, turn him into a buyer, and sell him a bunch of, of foreclosure houses. And it's just stick with it. Don't take it personal. It's not going to happen that often. Like, it's honestly, I call it the lightning strike objection in training, because it keeps people off the phones. But what I hear more often, and I'll say 25 to 1, people call me and say, holy crap, you were right. I can't believe these are the nicest people ever. I've never had people be this nice to me on the phone. And those are the people you want to help, and those are the ones you want to focus on. And I know this was a long-winded response, but I want, you're in a position that we find a lot of people in. And I find the people who don't raise their hands and say, I kind of got shut down, they usually they'll let that little voice overcome the reason they got into this, and they'll quit before they see any return. So anyway, thank you for stepping up and believe in what you're doing. It sounds to me like you're doing it for the right reasons.
Thank you. And that was all of our intentions of doing it, because we thought, like I said, we personally have been through it, and it's not an easy task. However, and you did hit on some phrases that I should probably use, that, you hit it very nicely. I'm doing it for the right reasons. And this woman said, do not contact me, do not call me, do not mail me anything. And I wanted to reach out to her and say, I am so sorry. Don't ever
do that. Why would you be sorry for what you're doing?
You know what, just because I feel bad and I knew going in that this is a possibility, and I often role played in my mind if this was ever brought to my attention and I got hit with this, what I would do. And and that's just my personality. We just always
but I'll challenge you to replace the word sorry with I understand can be just as powerful as I'm sorry. But to me,
Correct.
I'm sorry. You have no reason to be sorry, and you're just reinforcing in your own mind you're doing something wrong, and you're not. So don't be sorry for doing the right thing. Be understanding. Be empathetic. I understand how you feel. A lot of people have felt that way, but what they found is when they actually listened, instead of going on whatever story they had made up, when they actually listened and learned what our service was about, we were actually able to help them and really made this a lot easier for them. So remember that. Feel, felt, found. And I understand and be empathetic, but don't apologize for doing the right thing, ever, in any business.
Absolutely. I do have another question. A lot of our leads coming through do not have property to sell, and I understand we can go with what are you doing with your investment and go in that route. Is there a different way to scrub so that the leads that do come through are with properties?
Well, we're working on a program called Probate Plus, and the problem is we're getting false positives. So we're trying to do this in a kind of with data versus with additional costs with researchers. If we do it at the courthouse, it adds a lot of time to the process, and it drives the cost of the leads up. And our goal is not to drive your marketing cost up. Our goal is to bring that down because we know it's already big, right? So rather than saying, hey, pay us a premium price, we'll do that for you. What we're trying to do is find a way to accomplish the same thing but actually save you money. And in initial testing, we've done pretty good. If you give me 100 probates, I'll come back with 80 saying 80 of them have real estate. And in reality, about 65 of them will have real estate. But we're throwing some false positives because the property has already been sold, or it's someone who the deceased last known address is associated with another, like say the kid's house, and the kid owns real estate. Then we get that. So we're trying to find ways to do that. For now, prospecting is the best way to scrub your list, and we will, in 2018, we'll continue to work on kind of cleaning that up so you're getting, accurate results.
Okay.
But we are working on it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for spending the time with me on the phone. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for showing up. I hope I didn't get too Tony Robbins on you.
It's bad when you get walking through that fire. Hey, the other thing, Dorothy, I'd like to also recommend that you do is go hop on the last 2 or 3 role play call recordings that we did. This is a question that typically comes up at least every other role play call that we do. Someone has this, and one of the things that we always point out is this is a rare occurrence. 9 times out of 10, people aren't going to yell at you. They're not going to be nasty. They're going to, like Chad says, if you lead and you're leading from a value-based, value plus, value first approach, you're not going to get that. If you're approaching with the right mindset, people aren't going to yell at you. But if they do, you've got to be prepared to handle that. But it's a rare occurrence that happens, and you can't let that get yourself down, like Chad said. But it's very important to realize that that's a rare thing rather than the rule. The rule is generally people are not going to do that, and they're quite appreciative. And a lot of times you're the only person that's calling them anyway. And think about this. When you went through this, you also made another point about the fact that an attorney handled everything for you. And I'm not going to get into this right now, but there's a good rebuttal to that. That's another common question that people get, that attorneys handling everything. And Chad did a great job of covering that on yesterday's role play call as well. So I don't want to beat that up on this call, but I suggest that might be something you want to hop on and listen to what went down yesterday on that, because it went really well, and I think you'd get a lot out of that.
Wonderful. Is there also role play calls on how to meet with an attorney, because I think I'd rather go that route.
Yep,
Yeah,
we
we've
talk
actually
about
covered
that
it.
almost every
So
role
I
play
think,
call.
yeah, on like the last 4 for sure. And Dorothy, if you go when you look at the call archive, I summarize every call,
Okay.
and you can kind of look and see where we did an attorney role play. Like yesterday we did one. I know in the last 3 or 4 calls there has been some role playing on prospecting attorneys. There's also if you look under the training tab, there's a series that I've done called Tips from the Trainer. And there's one of those on how to prospect attorneys, and it's probably it's a 5 or 6 minute video, maybe 10 minutes of just me kind of sharing pointers on how to get into attorney prospecting and build that network. So between those 2 resources, between the tips from the trainer video and the role play calls archives, you should get a pretty good level of confidence there.
Wonderful. I appreciate the time you spent with me on the phone. And I will definitely look those role play archive calls up.
Get back.
Okay, I want to just
come back next week with a success story. I want like a positive one.
Absolutely.
And I want to say one other thing that you've got going for you that a lot of folks don't have, and this is a great advantage for you. You have a very kind and friendly voice, and that means a lot on the other end of that phone. I'd find it really, really hard to yell at you if you were calling me and I hear your sweet voice on the other end of the phone. So you got everything in the world going for you. This will work out well. You just got to make sure your head's screwed on correctly, and you'll be really successful. And we appreciate you stepping up and asking a hard question and helping us answer it for you.
I appreciate your help also. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All righty. All right.
What about my voice, Tim?
Your voice, I don't particularly care for your voice. All right. Star 6 and 1. We don't have anybody in the queue right now, and we're not going to keep you hanging out here. If you don't have any other questions, we're going to. There we go. I got not recognized that name. Hang on one second. 7877, Russ.
Hey guys, this is Russ in Northwest Arkansas. How you doing?
Good.
How are you, Russ?
Great. Hey, I have a question about something that I revert to on phone calls with leads, and just want to get your opinion. So when I'm building value and trying to instill my services in their mind, I tend to think from their perspective, because if somebody's calling me and offering me this, I immediately think, okay, what are they going to charge me for this? So when I'm building value, I tend to want to revert to pointing out that I'm not charging them extra. Obviously, I want to know if there's property involved before we get to that, but I tend to want to do that. But when I listen to the role plays and the masterminds, I don't typically hear Chad, for instance, going into that. So I want to get your feedback on when's the right time to start pushing that, or does it matter?
It usually, for me, eventually they will ask. Like if you're building up all this value and they're seeing value in it, they're going to be thinking, what the heck this is awesome, like, but what's it going to cost me? And they'll ask you that, and you can say, oh, well, actually, we don't get paid until we do what we promise. Unless you just want to give us money, we'll go ahead and do what we promise first, and then we'll get paid from doing a good job. Would that be okay? And it's usually just a quick brush over. It's a quick brush over. It's not a big part of my conversation, but it does come up. Like, a lot of people do that. And if you'll notice in some of the letters I've written, we actually emphasize that as, we don't get paid until we do exactly what we promise. And
I guess that's the statement I need to make.
Yeah, and I don't think it's hurting you. I can't see why it would hurt you to work that into the beginning of the conversation, as long as if you feel good about the flow of it.
Well, I feel
think of it as kind of a brand promise, right? So we provide a very broad scope of service for people in your situation, and what's really cool about our model is we don't have any upfront fees. We make sure you're taken care of before we ever make any money.
But you're still not pointing out. I feel like I have to differentiate the fact that my extra efforts with connecting them to the needed services is not an extra charge. There's no fees at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if I don't feel they are buying into it after I've told them all of these things, that I can do, then that's something I feel like I revert to, but I don't know if it's necessary. And I'm just trying to find a better way to maybe phrase it, I guess.
I don't think so, man. Like I guess I've never heard this question. I've never really thought about it because I feel like you're leading with so much value. I don't think anyone really. I mean, I always get the question of, well, what do you guys charge, or how do you charge? And that's about the most I ever get from it. But most people.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm role playing in my head as I'm thinking and trying to talk. So let me slow down.
I agree that if you're building the value correctly, that it shouldn't be necessary, I guess.
I'm trying to think of the of a good opening, how you could work. I don't know. It hasn't really stopped anyone. Like, it hasn't really been an objection, because I think in the language that you do hear on the calls, the implication is that we're going to provide a bunch of like real estate related services that we're not actually charging for. We get paid if and when you decide you need help with the real estate, then we'll get paid. Otherwise, we're just going to bring you a ton of value, because we know that if we provide this level of service in the community, we'll always have business. And we're, I'm in the business of I really like to attract business by providing more value than anyone else, than chase business. So, there's a lot of ways. There are much easier ways for me to make money in real estate, but this is the one that I'm really passionate about, because I know I can help a lot of people, and we get paid for money always comes our way, right? Business always comes our way when we need it, because we provide this level of service. And that's how I've explained it to people, and it's really what I believe. Like, it's my mantra is provide value first. And if I do this for each and every client, I never have to worry about dollars coming in. They just show up. And you can kind of work that into your personality and your version of it if you feel like you need to work it in the front of the conversation. But I don't think it's I don't think you're. I don't know. I always encourage people, like, if you have that feeling, that's still going to be there the next time you're on the phone. And if you think it's necessary, throw it in there and try it. Like, try a couple different things and see what works best and what feels best for you and to them, and how they react to it. You might be onto something. I mean, intuition is telling you something. I don't see how you can hurt yourself by reinforcing that in the initial in the front of the conversation. It can't hurt you. So
no,
I'm a big fan of testing things that don't really have a downside.
Right. Yeah, and I think it really just comes down to wanting to get some different verbiage and different ways to kind of phrase some of those things, like what you just said, attracting business by providing more value and things of that nature. Just kind of ways to word it differently is kind of what I was looking for, and so that's really helpful. So I appreciate it. Yeah.
Good question. That's the first time we've had one like that, so thank you. And I'll tell you this, man, if you ever want to work on this, like, one-on-one, where I'm not stammering in front of 100 people, if you want to, like, role play it and kind of work on a brand promise or that language, you can just call me directly and we'll do that one-on-one.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Okay, Russ, have a good one. And, folks, we got a little bit more time left here. I'm going to take one more round around the horn. *61 if you'd like to get a question answered or talk to us about what's going on in your world. That'd be great. And we just got another one. We'll be glad to take that one. Caller ending in 3948.
Hey, guys. It's Sam from Richmond, Virginia. How are you?
Sam, I am. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good. Good to hear from you.
Good. I was just wondering, I mean, being an ISA, I wanted to know what how you taught the ISAs that you guys the services that you're selling to the clients. What script are they using? Did you guys set up a script with them, or is it the same that the same that you teach to everybody, or what exactly are you having them say on that initial call?
Would you ask Colonel Sanders for his secret recipe, Sam?
Yeah, I would if I met him. Sure.
It's really simple. So, I mean, what I learned in training ISAs is that trying to go for the face-to-face appointment is a big mistake. So what our ISAs are doing, they're setting phone appointments.
Okay.
And it's a relatively quick. It's hey Sam, this is or hey this is Chad from Sam's office. We've actually built a team of professionals here locally that help families that are going through the probate process. And Sam asked me to reach out and call you because our researchers pulled your name from the courthouse, and I really think it would be great if we could get you on Sam's calendar and she could explain some of the services we provide. Would Friday at 3 be a good time for maybe just 15 minutes? And
Okay.
it's a soft touch like that. There's different variations of it when obviously we're still working on it and trying different things, but it's not going very deep. We're just introducing a service and getting on the calendar. But what's really interesting is when our agents, and we've got obviously agents of all different personality types and different markets, from from downtown like Manhattan to middle of nowhere, rural USA. And we're seeing the conversion rates. Everyone is converting 2 out of 3 appointments to listings. Some people are converting every appointment to listings, but on average, 2 out of 3. So it's working. So it's we don't go very deep. We don't get a whole lot of information. Just kind of the general. We answer a few questions that we push into your CRM. So when you do make the call, you have information. Whatever was discussed, you have in front of you. But we don't really get into property details or, get into real estate or anything like that. We just kind of introduce it as that, that broad service. And I'd really, really like to get you on the phone with Sam to kind of so you understand what it is where she has to offer. And it's what we're finding is it's being a third party, not being the one asking for the appointment, gets less objections. It seems to be people are a little more, they roll over a little bit easier and say, okay, I guess. So we're I'm curious to see, like, what do you think? So it takes us 40 leads to get an appointment and about 1.5 appointments to get a listing. Like, is that consistent with what you guys have seen? Is that how do you grade us?
That's great. That's pretty average. That's a little higher than what I see
call
personally.
Me average.
No, that's higher than what I see, just because I think I'm going a lot further in detail before.
Yeah.
Like I'm nurturing leads and I'm doing a lot before. Like my main goal is
you're
to
not
set the
you're not
appointment.
typical. I mean, you label yourself an ISA, but you're doing all the heavy lifting.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if Mark listens to these calls, but you're doing 99% of what it takes to be successful with this. So you're going well above and beyond this the service of an ISA, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you're really good at this, and you pretty much you're the whole service of the you're the core of the offer in your office, where we're not going near that deep with our ISA.
Yeah, I just didn't know. I mean, my opening has been okay. I've just gotten some, recently, I don't know, I feel like I've gotten away from the script for a long time now. And I feel like I'm getting maybe shut down a little bit more now than I used to. And I don't really know why. So I was just wondering if you guys were doing if you were directing the ISAs to do anything differently than just that. But that's pretty much my standard opening too. We have a team of professionals here. We reach out to people like you who have inherited estates. I just want to know if you need any help and what's been the biggest challenge for you. And most times people who are receptive to that are super open. The next 10 minutes are them telling me their whole sob story about everything and their sister in the house and this, that, and the other. And then a lot of times is, nope, there wasn't any real estate, or nope, we already have it handled. It's already sold. My sister's a realtor, whoever. And there's not a lot I can do with that. I mean, I can't, if your sister's a realtor, I can't be like, well, I guess we're better, it's just, I can't really push back against that. But the numbers.
Yeah, you can. I'll point you back to, I think it might be time to listen to session 3 of Probate Mastery. Go back into your email and find that. 2 of those, I have really good objection handlers for the two that you just threw. We've got it handled. We've got a real estate agent in the family. There are ways you can turn those around. And I've got plenty of success stories, closed transactions on that one. Of all my daughter just got into real estate. I couldn't possibly, or we've used the same realtor for 30 years. And I tell some of those stories, I think, in session 3 of Mastery when you go to the objections part. So it might be time to dust that off and listen to it one more time.
Okay.
You did Mastery, right?
I did not.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No.
I'll send you an audio clip then, where
Okay.
you can kind of hear that.
Okay.
I thought you'd done it. Well, that's your problem. You just need to do Mastery.
That is my problem. Yeah, I got to get Mark on board with the cost of it.
Sharpen your axe, Sam.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I think the contact ratio is still high. It's just getting people, because I never want to be super pushy. I really just want to provide a ton of value so that when people are ready, they'll call me up and be like, okay, great, I'm ready, come list the house. And then I, set the appointment for Mark. But normally by that time, I've talked to these people 2 or 3 times. If I can get on the first call and actually have a rapport with them, and we spend a lot of times, normally I'll set an appointment. But sometimes I'm just finding it's a lot of nurturing. I'm getting stuff. We just got one from literally a year ago in last November's batch of leads that came through and is a listing, and I've been nurturing her since then. So it's
I tell people that all the time. Bill Bird is you guys. He rarely shows up to these calls anymore, but Bill's in an extremely competitive market, getting 35 leads a month across 3 different counties, and he's consistent. He'll make 7 digits this year just in probate. And his analogy is he considers it like a bass pond is his analogy. And each month he stocks it with 35 more, and he just knows that if he actually cares and actually reaches out to people and follows up and does, he's doing it for the right reason. He's like, man, I know there's always fish in that pond. I don't know where they're coming. I don't know which one I'm going to catch, but he's doing business the same as you. And I did this too. I mean, I had come list me calls from a year away. Like, I don't know how many times people would call up and they're like, Chad, listen, we really need to meet and get the paperwork done on this place. And I'm like, I'm sorry, have we talked? And I had never even talked to them. They had just gotten letters and phone calls and checked out my website. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a ton of business in there. The more you can keep in touch with them, the better. You're certainly doing a better job than I ever did, but that's exactly what's made Bill so successful, is just keeping in touch with them. I really want you to do session 3 of Mastery though. After hearing what you're saying, like I know that we can get you a lot better on the phones in just in a short time, or you can call me and we'll work one-on-one if you want.
Yeah, I mean that's good. This week is crazy, but yeah, definitely. I will send you an email, or you send me an email with that audio clip, and we'll work something out. Okay,
sounds good.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Sam.
You could have your machines talk to each other. That might work. You just never know. Thanks, Sam. We appreciate you calling in.
No problem.
Okay, we have one more caller in the queue, and we'll probably make this the last one because we're heading up to the end of the hour here. That is ending in 9624. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Veronica Warwick, and I'm new to the program. And I came in on the call late, but when I did, I heard you say it took 40 leads to get one appointment. Is that correct?
That's right.
Is that correct?
Yes, making cold calls.
Okay. So being new to the program, I just started calling my leads last week, and I already have 2 appointments. So I'm just kind of trying to understand.
Off how many leads?
Well, my first 10.
Oh, you're such an overachiever.
So I was like, wait a minute, did he just say it took 40 leads to get one appointment?
So understand we're calling in a variety of different markets across the country. Okay. Some markets are like that. Like if you're in one of the lucky markets, you might be the only person in town doing what you're doing, and hopefully so. Other markets are fiercely competitive, and you have 100 investors mailing people, and we're trying to cut through that noise. So sometimes it takes 80 phone calls to get someone to realize we're not an investor and it's a whole different service. But so it's just an average.
What I did was I reached out to the attorney first to see if the attorney might have information if they were looking to get it sold. And sometimes I got hold of the attorney, sometimes I didn't. But when after calling the attorney, I would call the actual executor or person that's handling the affairs, and said, yes, I reached out to your attorney, and I would use the attorney's name. I reached out to Mr. Mims in regards to your home at 123 Main Street. I was just calling to see if you were looking to get the house on the market. And they're like, well, actually, yes. And because I referred the name of the attorney back to them, they didn't feel as like, okay, it's a sales pitch, you know?
Yeah.
That's how
great.
I felt. So, but yeah, and one of the properties, she just had it appraised for $640,000. So I'm just over the moon. I go Tuesday and meet with her. So.
That's awesome. So
That's great.
out of your first 10 phone calls.
Yes. So my first, and I just got another 14 leads here this last week, and I haven't touched them yet, but I'm going to do that here in the next day or so.
There's probably at least 3 appointments in there at your pace.
Yeah.
Go get them.
So.
Thanks for sharing, Veronica. That's great.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm excited about the program, and I'm trying to utilize the tools you guys are giving me. And this is my first conference call to listen in, but I'll definitely start listening in on the weekly basis. So.
We appreciate that. And since that's about as good a way as we could possibly end it, I think we're gonna call it a day. We're at the top of the hour here. It's been great having you guys join us. I'll make a couple of quick observations. We talked earlier about the ISA program, and we mentioned that we're only doing one per county, and that has led to a flurry of inbound calls already. So if you are on this call and you have interest in the ISA program, probably be a good day to get that done, because our customer support people, since we've been on this call, a couple of them have instant messengered me to say, hey, were you guys talking about the ISA program on the call? We're getting a flurry, and people asking the same question about, we'll only do one in a county, and that is a true statement. So if you're a player and you want to do the ISA program, today'd be your best day to go think about getting that done quickly. And with that, Chad, I'm going to let you give the Jim Sullivan speech for the end, and we're going to call it a day.
The Sullivan close. Take one thing you learned here today, one great idea, put it into action, and come back next week with a success story. Make it a great day, guys.
Thank
you all so much.